Welcome to another journey into the very reaches of your imagination and the darkest corners of your mind as we take you on a trip into Imagination Theater. Brought to you in part by Cybervision Foreign Language Learning Systems and by American Hawaii Cruise Lines. Tonight, meet a dying man who hires a sniper to end his life quickly, but then he learns he can be cured and can't call off the execution. It's a very exciting episode entitled The Appointment.
You see, this Monday I'm going to be in Montreal to take treatments. I'll be cured.
I wouldn't bet on Montreal on Monday, Mr. Fraser. In fact, I wouldn't even bet on Sunday.
And then, in Authenticity, a billionaire Texan buys an old English manor and has it transported to his ranch. But his demands for authenticity go a bit too far.
I've taken elaborate pains to bring the manor back to life again, and it has feelings of its own.
Sure, Steve. Sure it does. And pigs can fly.
It's all ahead in this week's Imagination Theater. This is executive producer Dave Adams, inviting you now to turn down the lights and turn up your imagination as we take you through a full hour of mystery and suspense, starting with our first episode entitled The Appointment.
There's a playground in a park where benches sit beneath the trees, the better for the old to watch over their young. Benches deserted now, except for the tall old man who's just settled down on one special bench and unfolded a magazine. The man has iron gray hair, close cropped, an expensive topcoat and scarf tucked beneath a firm jaw. But the man isn't reading his magazine. He couldn't tell you a word in it. This man is waiting for an appointment. He checks his watch. And when he looks up, the waiting is over.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Okay if I sit down?
Certainly.
Thanks.
Oh, you're right on time.
How's that again?
You are the man I talked with on the phone?
Could be.
Oh, for God's sake, don't play games with me. You ought to know I'm serious about this.
So am I, mister. Or I wouldn't be here.
All right. And what do you need to know?
Hey, this is your party, old man. You lay it out for me.
Well, as I told you, I want to hire someone who's good with guns. A good marksman. Well?
You want to see my medal?
Look, are you interested or aren't you?
I'm here, right? So I'm interested. Keep talking.
And there's a party. A person who has to die. I need someone to arrange it.
Who is it?
I assure you there's absolutely no danger involved for you at all. It'll be at a remote place.
You want to tell me the name?
His name is Alonzo Fraser.
Alonzo Fraser. Okay.
I want you to use a large bore hunting rifle, so it'll look like an accident. But I want it clean. A clean first shot, you understand? So there'll be no suffering. Can you do that?
Easy.
He'll be up at his cabin in the woods this weekend. He has a place exactly 9 miles north of the town of Granite. Well, here. I drew a little map here. There.
Okay. I can find it.
Now, the hills will be crawling with hunters anyway, so one stray shot.
Very nice.
And he'll be alone.
Very nice.
Now, here's your money. I'm putting it here inside the magazine like you said.
Beautiful. Just lay it down on the bench between us. Yeah. Okay, you can take off now. I'll never see you again, and you'll never see me.
Look, you won't miss, will you?
I never miss.
Just one shot?
Don't worry, Mr. Fraser. You'll never know what hit you.
What? How did you know? How did you know I'm Alonzo Fraser?
Because you look like you're scared of dying. It's no skin off my nose, Mr. Fraser. A contract is a contract. Now, why don't you go on about your business? And I'll see you this weekend. But like I say, you'll never see me again.
You know, I've been telling you about the Cybervision way to learn a new language for some time now, and some people tell me it sounds too easy when I say you can learn to speak in Russian, Japanese, Italian, Portuguese, French, German, or any of some 23 foreign tongues in 30 minutes a day for as little as 30 days. Well, I know I was skeptical at first, too. But you'll see for yourself when you call and order the Cybervision program. Not only that, Cybervision will send you a high-quality personal stereo tape player free along with your order, so you can learn while you're driving or working around the house or even out jogging. No more long, demanding night classes, no more slaving over books. You know, Cybervision is the new proven way to fast-forward your language learning. So call Cybervision, order the program for the language you want to learn, and when you mention hearing about it here on Imagination Theater, the tape player comes with your order, no extra charge. Phone 1-800-606-TALK, 1-800-606-TALK. And now, The Appointment.
Is that you, Lon?
Yes, Jean, it's me.
Did you have a nice walk, dear? I was hoping you'd be back this early. Nancy and Doc want us to come over for cocktails around 5, and then they want us to drive to some Mexican restaurant she redecorated and have a big dinner. How does that sound?
Oh, that's fine.
Are you too tired?
No, I'm fine.
You know, I don't know where that girl gets her energy. Buzzing around decorating people's houses and now a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, doctors' wives have to keep busy or they become drunks.
Oh, a lot you know about doctors' wives.
Yeah, I know Doc. He's a busy man. Busy all the time.
No, Lon, don't sit down. You have just enough time to change before we have to leave.
You better look out or Nancy will talk Jean into redecorating your place, too.
I probably could use it. Well, after I'm gone, I...
Try not to think about that, Lon. Take her one day at a time.
Yeah.
Or if that's no good, 1 hour at a time. That's all any of us have anyway. We can only live 1 hour or 1 minute or one breath at a time.
Oh, is that your standard pep talk for dying patients, Doctor?
No, Lon. Listen, though, on that subject, I read a piece in the medical journal the other day about some work a man in Canada's doing. I shouldn't even mention this to you, but he thinks he's worked out a cure that's effective on certain types of leukemia.
Oh?
I naturally sent him a specimen of your serum just to see if by any possible chance he could help in your case.
Well, it's a little late for that, isn't it?
Well, we can't ever stop trying, Lon.
No, I suppose not. But don't worry about me. I've taken care of things.
How do you mean?
Nothing. Say, are you going to take us to dinner, or am I going to have to starve to death?
Excuse me, Mr. Fraser.
Huh? What is it, Peggy? I'm trying to get some work done.
Well, I know you didn't want to be disturbed, but Dr. Calm is on the line. He asked me to interrupt you no matter what you were doing.
All right, I'll talk to him.
He's on line 2.
Hi, Doc.
I'm sorry, Lon, but this just couldn't keep.
What have you got?
I think I've got what you and I have been hoping for. You remember I told you about that Canadian doctor and his experiments on leukemia?
Yeah, the one you mentioned the other night.
Yes, and you know that I sent him a specimen of your blood. Well, I got a phone call from him not 5 minutes ago, and he's run your serum through his process. Lon, he says he's sure he can cure you.
You say that again?
He says you have one of the 2 strains that respond to his technique. He's sure he can cure you.
He can cure me?
We have to work fast, Lon. How soon can you leave for Montreal?
Montreal?
I can get you checked into his private clinic first thing Monday morning. Can you do it?
Can I do it? Nothing on earth could stop me.
Lon?
I'm here, Doc.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right. I'll call you back. I just thought of something I have to take care of before the weekend. Where is that phone number? Oh, my God, please let me find it. Oh, here. He's got to be there. Make him be there.
Hello?
Hello? This is Alonzo Fraser. Is this my friend from the park bench?
Yeah?
Thank God. Thank God. Listen to me. Something's come up. I want you to cancel everything. Do you understand?
You chickening out, Mr. Fraser?
No, you don't understand. My doctor just called me and they found a cure for me. I'm going to live, don't you see? And I want you to forget everything. Just forget it.
It's a little late, old man.
Oh, well, you can keep half the money. How's that? Just meet me somewhere and give me half of it back.
No can do.
But that's $5,000 for nothing. Isn't that fair?
It's too late, Mr. Fraser.
What do you mean too late? You just keep the $5,000 and do nothing.
Something I didn't mention. I don't do the actual job.
What? What are you saying? You said that you...
It's out of my hands now, Mr. Fraser. I called in a specialist. He has your map, and he knows who you are. He's very reliable. If he don't get you up at your cabin, he'll find you, wherever you are.
But good heaven, man, can't you get to him and stop him?
I wouldn't know where to look for him.
But, you see, this Monday I'm going to be in Montreal to take treatments. I'll be cured.
I wouldn't bet on Montreal on Monday, Mr. Fraser. In fact, I wouldn't even bet on Sunday.
But that's insane. You must have some way of... Hello? 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 That man's out of his mind. He must be out of his mind.
Yeah?
Listen, please. You can keep all the money. Keep it all. Only call him off. Do you understand?
Look, Fraser, it's tough luck. But I already paid the guy half of my fee. Now, you wanted something done real bad, didn't you? And I helped you out. You wanted it done this Saturday, so I had to work fast. Okay. I got you one of the best in the business. Now, you gotta realize, to him, you're just a target. If you move, he moves. You jump, he jumps.
But you can stop him.
No way, Mr. Fraser. He don't stand still for a minute. He's like a ghost.
But you knew how to get hold of him the other day.
That was the other day. A phone booth somewhere. He's long gone now.
His name? What's his name? What does he look like?
Oh, you gotta be kidding. I never seen him. Now don't try to phone me again, Fraser. You bought the package, and you can't return it.
But there must be something you can tell me about him.
Why? So you can go to the police?
I've got to stop him.
That's what I can tell you about him. You can't stop him. If you don't show up at your cabin, it'll happen at your house, or your office, or in your car. Face it, Fraser. You're a dead man.
Imagination Theater will continue. A few months ago, you heard us talking about the Imagination Theater's salute to radio crews down the Mississippi River. And now, here's your opportunity not to miss our next fabulous cruise to Hawaii aboard the beautiful SS Independence. This 7-day USO benefit cruise is December 4th through the 13th and actually sails into Pearl Harbor on December 7th for a very special USO commemoration of Pearl Harbor Day. The one and only Frankie Lane will be our special guest aboard this cruise and will entertain us during our cruise of 5 different ports on 4 beautiful islands, including Oahu, Maui, Kauai, and the incredible Big Island of Hawaii. If you haven't joined us before or cruised the Hawaiian Islands, here's your chance, starting at just $18.86 per person. Call Connie Swanson Travel today for all the details at 800-767-1977. Call them now. If it's after hours, leave them a message, and they'll get back to you right away. The Imagination Theater USO Hawaiian Island Cruise, December 4th through the 13th. Don't miss this one. And now, back to Imagination Theater.
Alonzo Fraser hired a killer, and now he wants to cancel the deal. But the killer is like a guided missile that can't be called back, and the target is Alonzo Fraser. It's evening now, Friday evening, and Alonzo drives home with one desperate hope in his mind: to get up to the cabin and lie in ambush, waiting for his assassin, and then get him first.
Oh, here he is. Oh, Lon, darling, it's like a miracle. Oh, darling.
Well, as the wife of your doctor, I'm next in line for one of those, Alonzo.
Nancy.
When Doc told me about your miracle, I insisted we come right over and share your hour of victory. Oh, Lon, really? Well, what can I say?
Well, there's quite a lot of treatment ahead, according to Sussman, but he's absolutely...
Sussman?
Well, that's the doctor who's...
Who's going to save your life? Oh, Lon, it is a miracle.
Yeah. Look, did you have plans?
No, we just wanted to stop by and, well, help you pack if you needed it.
Oh, I've got tickets on a flight out tomorrow night.
Tomorrow?
Saturday night. Is that all right?
Yeah, I guess so. What I was going to say was well, I don't know if you'll understand this, but I'm going up to the cabin tonight.
Tonight?
I love it so up there, and, well, I want to get in a little shooting early in the morning, before the thundering herd arrives in their campers and drives all the game back up into the snow.
You want some company?
Oh, just this once, Doc. Would you understand if I said I wanted to go up there alone?
Of course, Lon.
Well, I understand. You've lived under a sentence of death for months. Now you just want to go up there by yourself and sort of say thank you. Right, Lon?
As always, Nancy. Right on target.
Lon, are you sure you feel strong enough to go up there alone?
Oh, yes, I feel fine. I've got to get on the road, Jean. Give me a kiss and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Not later than 5. Remember, we have to have dinner and get to the airport by 7:45.
Yeah. You think I'm likely to forget that?
You have your medicine?
Yes, I've got everything. See you tomorrow. Well, I made it. No sign anybody's been here. Oh, it's dark as pitch. No, I don't dare light the lantern yet. I better use this flashlight. Let's see if everything's okay. Yeah, everything's normal. Well, now to set up my little decoy. I don't know how good I am at this. I'll take these pillows, stuff them into this old jacket here. Yeah. All right, now the hat. Wait a minute. Would I wear the hat indoors? Oh, well, might as well. Now, the whole thing goes up into the chair. And we'll move the chair here over by the window. Like so. Oh, phew. That's about all I can take. Now, get a fire going. Plenty of fuel. And we'll just see if I can catch me a killer. Well, I've done all I can. Set up a decoy inside. I got my sleeping bag out here on the deck. Now I've got a fighting chance to nail him before he nails me. What time is it? Watch says 5 past midnight. I've got to stay awake. Got to stay awake. Huh? What's that? Oh, it's getting light. I've been asleep. It must be... Yeah, it is. It's almost dawn. This will be when he makes his move. Someone's in the area. He must have seen my car. He'll be up here in a few seconds now. Take the rifle off safety. Wait a minute. What if he's already watching me out there? What if he's been here all night? I can't stay out here on the deck much longer, or the sun will be up and he'll spot me. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Yeah, he could be in the woods, watching the cabin right now. And when I move, he gets me. I'm trapped. And my hands are so numb I can hardly hold the gun. Oh, I'm getting weak. My medicine's inside. Oh, what a fool I was. He's going to get me after all. Wait. Something moved in the trees. There he is. There he is. Raincoat and a gun. Big one. Telescopic sight. Here he comes. Come on. He still doesn't see me. Oh, my hands are shaking. I've got to hold still. Now. I got him. I got him.
Well, Alonzo Fraser's long night of waiting is over. He slowly gets to his feet in the shade of his cabin as the first rays of the rising sun creep across the clearing and fall on the still body of the man in the raincoat.
Better not stay here. Too many questions to answer. Get to the car. Now the car. And then home. And no more fear. No more fear. Home. Jean will be surprised I'm home so early. Only 10 in the morning. We can pack, have a leisurely dinner, then the plane to Montreal, the treatments, and a new lease on life. Oh, it's all working out. Jean, it's me. She must be up and around by now. I'll get out of these duds and get into a good hot shower.
Lon, what are you doing home so early?
Oh, I just decided to get an early start. Glad to see me?
Oh, yes, darling, of course. Are you alone?
What do you mean, am I alone? Of course I'm alone.
Well, that's funny.
Why? What are you talking about?
Well, I just thought it would be such a surprise, that's all.
I don't get what you're saying.
Well, last night around 11, Doc came over.
He did? But why?
Well, of all the coincidences, guess who blew into town and wanted to see you?
Who?
Dr. Sussman. And he's just wild about hunting, so I suggested he drive up to the cabin and meet you. And we explained how he should get there, and I loaned him one of your guns with a telescopic sight. I hope you don't mind. And he took off in Doc's car to have breakfast with you at the cabin.
Sussman? From Montreal?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
Well, I guess he was wearing a raincoat. And we're all going to fly up to Canada tonight together. Only, Lon, you must have just missed him.
Oh, no, Jean. Believe me, I didn't miss him.
The Appointment. Featured in our cast were Paul Herlinger as Alonzo Fraser, Russell Money as Doc, John Aylward as the killer, Pat French as Jean, and Lee Posh as Nancy and the secretary. Script and direction by yours truly, Jim French.
Imagination Theater will continue after this. And now, Imagination Theater continues.
For sale, one medieval English manor house, recently reconstructed on imposing American estate. Owner desperate? No reasonable offer refused. An intriguing ad, don't you think? But before you consider snapping up this unusual bargain, there are some things you should know. Our story tonight concerns two individuals, a man whose wealth is exceeded only by his greed, and a man who believes in fulfilling his promise to the very last word. Our tale has its beginning 5 years ago, aboard the private jetliner of E. Howard Bascom, on its way from New York to London. In the luxurious cabin, Mr. Bascom confers with one of his aides.
Let's cut to the chase, Collins. Do I or don't I get the house?
Well, it's iffy right now, Mr. Bascom. You know about their preservation trust.
Their what?
It's a law in Britain. Certain historic buildings are considered national treasures.
And they can't be sold?
No, they can be sold, but they can't be altered. They can be modernized inside. The outside has to be preserved the way it was. And they don't permit them to be moved.
But we've got the lawyers working on that, right?
Oh, yes, sir. They've been working at it ever since you came up with the idea of moving Haresworth Hall to Dallas.
Well, what have they done? I want some progress.
Well, they've arranged a meeting for you in London with Sir James Stokely, a member of the Parliament. He's the administrator of the Preservation Trust, and if we can convince him to take Haresworth off the trust registry, nothing will stand in our way.
Stokely, huh? What have you got on him?
Well, he's going to be pretty hard to suborn. He's an earl, actually. Earl of Millwater.
All of those royals are corrupt somewhere down the line. What do the lawyers say?
Nothing, sir. They haven't found anything that you could hold over his head.
Well, that's just great. What do I pay those Shylocks for? If we don't cut a deal, I'm going to be real unhappy.
Yes, sir.
This old boy don't take kindly to disappointments.
I know that, sir.
What time is this meeting with Sir James, what's his name?
Stokely. Meeting set for 3 London time.
Well, there's the hour, and he's not here. Perhaps he won't come.
Oh, he'll be here, never you mind.
Well, I wish I weren't here.
We've been all through that, Mr. Steed.
But I don't want to go to Texas.
We all have to do things we don't want to do. How do you think I feel? Administrator of the trust, a member of Parliament, selling off part of our history to an oil man from Dallas, of all places. I'll get mine in the press, you may be assured of that. If the economy weren't so awful and if Haresworth wasn't such a crumbly...
Excuse me, sir. Mr. E. Howard Bascom is here.
Ah, excellent. Mr. Bascom, delighted to meet you.
Feelings mutual. What do I call you, Mr. Stokely? Earl? Your lordship?
How would Sir James do? Oh, and permit me to introduce a most important gentleman to our enterprise. May I present Mr. Jonathan Steet, one of our leading architects and an expert on Haresworth Hall.
Well, good to shake your hand, Mr. Steet.
Pleasure.
Will there be anything else?
It's just tea time. Would you care for some tea, Mr. Bascom?
Never touch it.
Perhaps a drink?
No thanks. I want a clear head.
Most admirable. Nothing for now, Cheevers.
Very good, sir.
Let's all sit down. Now, we've gone over all of the...
I'd like to get right down to the bone, Sir James. I'm prepared to pay you $20 million cash for Haresworth Hall. Take it or leave it.
20 million. We thought your lawyers mentioned a figure of 18 million.
Well, I know all about your, your preservation trust. I figure you might overlook it if you had a little incentive. So I sweetened up my offer a tad, make it more attractive to you.
Mr. Bascom, Haresworth Hall is over 600 years old. It is part of our national history.
Yeah, and I happen to know it's also fallen apart. Hasn't been lived in for over 40 years, and now it's boarded up. If someone don't do something about it soon, it'll just be a big old pile of bricks sitting out there on the moor.
I see you've done your homework, sir.
Now, I'm prepared to take this old ruin off your hands and move it brick by brick and stone by stone, give it a new home and a new life. Like they've done with your old London Bridge. It's in Arizona now.
Yes. Tell me, why are you so keen on Haresworth Hall?
Oh, I could duplicate it. Probably cost me half of what I'll be paying to buy it and move it. But then all I'd have would be a copy of an English castle.
And you want the real thing?
You got it.
And your plans for it, after you rebuild it in Dallas?
I'm going to live in it.
The Trust are willing to consider the most unusual matter of relinquishing a national treasure, provided 2 immediate conditions are met.
Let's hear 'em.
First, the reconstructed building would be identified as historic property of Her Majesty's realm.
I don't get you.
A formality, Mr. Bascom. Perhaps an official listing. Possibly a discreet plaque or sign at the entrance to the ground.
Fine. What else?
If we were to waive the trust regulations in this case, we would require Mr. Steed here to supervise the dismantling and reconstruction under a bond assuring that the contents of the estate be kept absolutely authentic.
I don't have a problem with that. I want it authentic.
Tell Mr. Bascom why we're willing to consider this offer, please, Mr. Steed.
Yes, well, as it happens, Haresworth Hall is in peril of eventual destruction by natural forces. You see, there are caves beneath the ground in that district, and the manor happens to be built directly over one of them. The structure is gradually sinking into the ground.
In other words, you boys were planning on tearing it down anyway.
Well, hardly that. But shoring up the foundation would be very costly, and our engineers recommend pumping liquid concrete into the cave beneath Hareworth.
Only the Geologic Trust won't permit that. Seems there's a law protecting underground caves.
In other words, you're stuck between a rock and a hard spot.
A soft spot, actually, to make a bit of a pun.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Steed. Which brings us to your offer, Mr. Bascom. As administrator of the Preservation Trust and on behalf of Her Majesty's Historic Lands and Edifices Office, I am prepared to take under consideration your offer of $20 million for the purchase and removal of Haresworth Hall.
And how long are you going to be considering it before I hear back?
Why, 24 hours.
Well, you won again, Mr. Bascom.
I'm not so sure.
What do you mean? 2 days in London, you bought a 600-year-old castle, you beat the Brits out of a historic treasure. I'd call that a win.
I don't know, Collins.
You had them eating out of your hand. You made it look easy.
Yeah, that's just it. It was easy. Too easy.
And they did stick you with this guy, Steet.
Yeah. By the way, where did he get to after we took off?
Oh, he's back in the aft restroom being airsick.
Well, from the minute that we land, I want you to watch him. While he's supervising Haresworth, you're going to supervise him.
Is that so? You think he's...
I don't know. Just don't let him go off too far off on the deep end on this authenticity thing.
That happened 5 years ago. In a minute, our tale continues.
Okay, you show your boss your great personal website, she's amazed. And you're suddenly responsible for creating the company website.
Johnson, we need a website.
No problem, I say. I just need hot metal. She says we don't listen to that kind of music around here.
No heavy metal. Do you hear me?
So I explained that Hot Metal Pro is the fast and easy drag-and-drop web publishing software that I use to create my great site at home. That Hot Metal Pro is packed with the most complete set of power publishing tools. That with Hot Metal, we can include Java, ActiveX, audio clips, tables, forms, and frames in no time. She's impressed.
I'm impressed, Johnson. I'm promoting you to technical director.
Really?
No, but you can't get that Hot Metal Pro you've been raving about.
Great, I say. Your website should be up and running this afternoon. Really, she says?
Really?
No, but with, say, a corner office and a car, it could be ready tomorrow.
Get Hot Metal Pro 3.0 from SoftSquad today. Call 800-647-8620. That's 800-647-8620. Imagination Theater continues.
It has taken 5 years of painstaking work to dismantle Haresworth Hall. Every brick and stone has been numbered and packed like Dresden china for shipment to Texas. And every step of the project has been under the critical supervision of Mr. Steet.
No! Stop that, you men! Mr. Collins!
What is it now, Mr. Steet?
Those carpenters were about to use common American galvanized finishing nails to fasten the wainscoting.
So what's wrong with that?
Mr. Collins, galvanizing was unknown until the 1800s. The original nails used in this building were made of hand-forged iron. Square shank, common black iron.
Yeah, but won't they rust?
Of course. But I promised Mr. Bascom that Haresworth would be authentic down to the last nail, and I make good on my promises. Mr. Collins!
Yes, Mr. Steet.
Where did this pallet of slate come from?
I don't know. I thought you ordered it.
I ordered English slate to repair the roof. Look at these marks here on the crates.
I can't make them out.
Precisely. This is Korean slate, not English slate.
Mr. Steed, slate is slate. This stuff looks just like the rest of the roof.
Authenticity, Mr. Collins.
Authenticity, Mr. Steed. Hey, Foreman, put this load of slate back on a truck and get it out of here.
Well, how soon will the place be ready, Mr. Steed?
Well, sir, the smith will be here on Monday for the installation of the grills and gratings. I have had some delay in finding the proper ingredients for the mortar.
The smith? Who's that?
The blacksmith.
Why do we need a blacksmith?
Well, I'm afraid rust has consumed most of the original ironwork. There are dozens of railings, torch brackets, wall sconces, chandeliers, candelabra.
Yeah, so you mean we gotta have an English guy?
Oh, the finest smith in all England has agreed to come out of retirement. You did say you wished everything to be authentic.
Oh, Mr. Steed?
Yes, Mr. Collins?
I need to know if you'll be flying anything more out of England. Mr. Bascom has a customer who wants to lease the plane.
Well, we are very nearly finished now, Mr. Collins, but I shall require one final trip.
Yeah? The place looks complete.
Very nearly, yes. When I return from England, it will be complete.
Oh, you're going over yourself? I thought you hated flying.
I detest it, but as you know, I pledged to Sir James and Mr. Bascom that I would see that Haresworth would be replicated in absolute authenticity, and I mean to supervise the last load personally.
So what's on this last load?
Oh, a number of antiquities.
Ah, you're back from England, Steve. Well, what do you think? Surprised? Pretty as a picture, isn't it? 40 feet wide and 20 feet deep.
I didn't know you planned to have a moat, Mr. Bascom. Haresworth was not surrounded by a moat. Only castles had moats.
Just thought of it while you was over in England getting that last shipment. I says to myself, Howard Bascom, you got to have a moat with a drawbridge. Remote control, of course. A castle needs a moat.
A manor house, sir. Haresworth is a manor house. It is not a castle.
Hey, for what I'm paying for it, it's a castle.
Well, as they say, every man's home is his castle. Every man's home is his castle. From the Third Institute of English Law, 1644.
You feeling all right?
Air travel doesn't agree with me, sir.
Yeah, I know. Well, nobody made you ride shotgun on that last plane load.
I felt it my responsibility, sir.
By the way, what's in that shipment anyway?
The last of the historical artifacts, Mr. Bascom. I had to supervise their removal.
Well, it looked to me like this last plane load was nothing but mud. Old English mud. That what you flew over there to bring back? Big old blocks of mud?
I had each section wrapped in heavy plastic, sir.
You mind my asking why Texas mud ain't good enough?
We are to have English roses in the rear garden, Mr. Bascom. The bushes will have to be rooted in English soil.
That's what they're doing out there behind the house of that bulldozer? Putting in a rose garden?
That's right, sir. Just as it was in England.
I think you've been working too hard. You go knock off.
Sir?
Take some time off. Take a vacation.
That is most kind of you, sir, but we are nearly done. And as we both know, I gave my word I would supervise everything to assure absolute authenticity.
Yeah? Well, when you import 20 ton of mud, maybe you've been carrying authentic too far.
I've been away in England a fortnight, and look what I find on my return, this moat.
Yeah, well, I can see you don't like the moat.
I feel responsible, sir, for the authenticity.
Are you all right?
Just a bit weak, sir. Perhaps the dampness coming up from the water.
What water?
Here in the moat, sir.
Now, you looky here, Steve. I pay the bills around here, and if I want a moat, I get a moat.
Of course, sir. If it makes you more comfortable to have a moat, it's only that...
What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing, sir. Your comfort comes first.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Mr. Bascom, the house may have feelings, too.
What?
I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Listen up, Steve. I okayed hiring you as part of this deal, but I've been putting up with your snooty attitude just about long enough.
Sir, I assure you,
Guess I'm not high class enough for you.
Please, Mr. Bascom.
Like I'm some poor Texas dirt. And that's another thing. Where do you get off spending my money to fly 20 ton of English dirt over here just to plant some roses? We got some of the best roses in the world right here in Texas, and they're growing in Texas dirt.
I assure you, Mr.
So if
Bascom,
I want to spend my money to dig up my Texas dirt and put in a ditch around my castle and fill it with my water from my wells, I'm going to do it. You savvy?
Yes, sir, I savvy.
Now, I want that bulldozer out of here and the rest of the work crew and you out of here, because I'm going to go to my castle and spend the night.
You're going to stay here tonight?
That's what I said.
But, sir, the electricity won't be on.
So what? They didn't have electricity 600 years ago when the Earl of Herresworth first moved in, did they?
So the place really isn't ready for you.
I got me a good gas lantern and a sleeping bag. That surprise you, Mr. Steep? You surprised that Howard Baskin, the big American millionaire, would sleep in a bedroll? Let me tell you something, Steve. That's how I started. When I was 16, I ran away from home. I had me a 50 Ford pickup truck and a bedroll, and that was all I needed. You think I inherited my money like some Brit who never worked a day in his life?
Sir, I implore you. The house is not ready.
Yeah? Well, I'm ready.
Mr. Bascom, please listen to me. To you, Haresworth is nothing but an indulgence.
Meaning what?
A status symbol. Something you can do with as you please, but it is more than that. I've taken elaborate pains to bring the manor back to life again, and it has feelings of its own.
Sure, Steve. Sure it does. And pigs can fly.
You have ordained that we recreate Haresworth, but you haven't the faintest conception of what your money has bought you, Mr. Bascom. Consider the trauma of an entity brought back to life after all these years.
You're starting to sound a little too weird for me, Steve.
Mr. Bascom, Haresworth Hall isn't ready for you.
Oh, yeah? Well, ready or not, I'm sleeping in there tonight.
But you don't understand,
Take
sir.
your hands off me.
Could we move away from the motor?
Let go of me, you old geezer. Now go on, cough on somebody else. Hey, what's where you're going now?
Help!
Well, how is he?
Well, he got pretty well chilled. The hospital wants to keep him overnight for observation.
Yeah. Crazy old goat. How old do you figure he is?
I don't know.
Listen, I don't want my name on his records or anything.
I did like you said. I signed him in as my employee.
Yeah, good.
You still going to spend the night here?
You betcha. Got my gas lantern, got my bedroll. I'll tell you, Collins, I'm like a kid with a new pony. Can't wait to ride it. You tell the workers not to come till after 9 tomorrow morning. I want to sleep in.
Will do. Can I get you anything before I head home?
Nope. I'm a big boy. I'll take care of myself.
Oh, I almost forgot.
What?
Old man Steed wants me to warn you about keeping the tradition or the heritage or something.
Oh, he's got a one-track mind. I'm just about sick of him. I hope he stays in the hospital a month.
You sure that lantern works okay?
Fill her up myself this afternoon. Go on home.
We'll tell the rest of our tale of suspense after these messages.
You know, for months, you've been hearing Jim French and me talking about the CyberVision foreign language learning system and how very simple it is to use. And I know you're tired of hearing about my trip to Mexico. So let me tell you about a few of the people around the studio here who've taken the same series of tapes and in less than 30 days taken their foreign language skills to new levels. Lynn, for instance, was fairly fluent in Spanish, but now she's fully conversant and carries on complete conversations with people all the time. She did it in less than 3 weeks in just a half hour a day in her car to and from work. How much quicker and easier can it get? So if you'd like to learn or improve your skills in any language, call the folks at CyberVision today at 1-800-606-TALK. Mention my name or Imagination Theater, and they'll send you a free personal stereo cassette player so you can listen to your tapes anytime, anywhere. That's the CyberVision Foreign Language Learning System. Fun, fast, easy, and guaranteed. Call them 1-800-606-TALK. And now, back to Imagination Theater.
Billionaire Howard Baskin is spending his first night in Haresford Hall. He put out his lantern and is fast asleep in his sleeping bag when...
Huh? What? Who the heck is that? All right. Collins, what do you want?
I'm sorry, Mr. Bascom. I suppose it could have waited till morning.
It's 2 a.m. What the devil is it?
I just thought you'd want to know. Steed is dead.
Steed is dead?
They called me from the hospital. I didn't have any way of getting word to you out here. I'm sorry.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it? He was an old man.
Yes, sir. Sorry I bothered you. Hope you can get back to sleep.
Couldn't wait to tell me. Man's an idiot. Well, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. was it? Who's there? Collins? That you?
I tried my best to warn you, Mr. Bascom.
Steve?
I don't believe you realized what you were acquiring, Mr. Bascom. I gave you my word that everything at Haresford Hall would be reassembled here, every stone, every brick, everything, including the rose garden. For you see, the ground behind the mansion has always been more than a rose garden. It is the final resting place of all the masters of the hall for the past 600 years.
The blocks of mud.
Graves, Mr. Bascom. Generations of Haresworths were buried here. Think how lost they would feel if you took their ancestral home from them. And so, I brought them back. They belong here, just as I belong. You see, I lost the family fortune. I was the last Earl of Haresworth. But now, we shall all stay on. Forever.
For sale, one medieval English manor house, recently reconstructed on imposing American estate. Owner desperate, no reasonable offer refused. Authenticity was directed by Pat French and featured Ed Gately, Richard Brestoff, Greg Herschelt, and Jay Green. Script by Jim French, sound created by Stu Conway. Our recording engineer is Peggy Stokes. The Cairo Mystery Playhouse is recorded before a live audience at the Museum of History and Industry in Seattle. This is Terry Rose speaking.
A few months ago, you heard us talking about the Imagination Theater's salute to radio crews down the Mississippi River. And now, here's your opportunity not to miss our next fabulous cruise to Hawaii aboard the beautiful SS Independence. This 7-day USO benefit cruise is December 4th through the 13th and actually sails into Pearl Harbor on December 7th for a very special USO commemoration of Pearl Harbor Day. The one and only Frankie Lane will be our special guest aboard this cruise and will entertain us during our cruise of 5 different ports on 4 beautiful islands, including Oahu, Maui, Kauai, and the incredible Big Island of Hawaii. If you haven't joined us before or cruised the Hawaiian Islands, here's your chance, starting at just $18.86 per person. Call Connie Swanson Travel today for all the details at 800-767-1977. Call them now. If it's after hours, leave them a message, and they'll get back to you right away. The Imagination Theater USO Hawaiian Island Cruise, December 4th through the 13th. Don't miss this one. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation of Imagination Theater. Brought to you in part by Cybervision, the fast, easy, guaranteed foreign language learning system, and by American Hawaii Cruises. This is executive producer Dave Adams, hoping you'll join us each and every week for another journey into your mind and the darkest corners of your imagination. Next week, in our 1-year anniversary show, a mystery woman phones a reporter to tell him a bridge is about to collapse. And when it does, Kincaid digs up a haunting fact about his caller, Felicia. And then, in our second episode called Blind Spot, the president is developing an eerie problem. You see, he sees the images of his dead father wherever he looks. Find out why. Be with us next week when Imagination Theater will again offer you a double feature movie for your mind. Imagination Theater is written and produced by Jim French in Seattle, Washington, and distributed by Transmedia Radio Networks, San Francisco, California, with network engineering by Damon Fries. For copies of Imagination Theater on compact disc or cassette, send a check or money order for $14.95 plus $2 shipping and handling, along with today's date and program title to Transmedia, 719 Battery Street, San Francisco, California, 94111. Or call 1-800-BAY-RADIO. That's 1-800-229-7234. This is Dave Adams, again thanking you for joining us for Imagination Theater. We'll see you again next week.
Next week in Imagination Theater, one of our two plays deals with a man who feels he is dying, then finds out after he's ordered his own execution that he can be cured.
You see, this Monday I'm going to be in Montreal to take treatments. I'll be cured.
I wouldn't bet on Montreal on Monday, Mr. Fraser. In fact, I wouldn't even bet on Sunday.
This week in Imagination Theater, a man desperately tries to call off his own execution.
Now, you wanted something done real bad, didn't you? And I helped you out. You wanted it done this Saturday, so I had to work fast. Okay. I got you one of the best in the business. Now, you got to realize, to him, you're just a target.
A billionaire buys an English mansion, has it transported to Texas, but it's more than a mansion.
I've taken elaborate pains to bring the manor back to life again, and it has feelings of its own.
Imagination Theater, tonight.